Okay, organisational culture. So when I think about culture in any kind of area, whether it's just general culture, like a country's culture as well as organisational culture, I always think about values, norms, behaviours. Try and incorporate those terms into your definition. So here I've got the values and behaviours that contribute to the social and psychological environment of a business. It's basically what do people believe in and how do they act on those things. So what you want to look for is whether a business has a strong culture or a weak culture, and then give evidence for that. So benefits of a strong culture: staff working towards business objectives. The company directors will come up with corporate objectives, they'll filter down the hierarchy. If you've got a good culture, staff will actually perform in their roles as the directors want to, in terms of this is our objective, please carry out your day-to-day tasks like this. And if you've got a good culture, they'll be working towards those objectives. Staff will also have increased motivation, therefore we'll see better productivity, which is going to be better cost-wise for the business. And then you'll also have staff loyalty. There'll be lower staff turnover. Having a high staff turnover is bad. Staff are going to competition. It can be very costly replacing people. So you'll have staff wanting to stay and work for your company, which then gives you a competitive advantage. So application in this question, what you need to look for is actually evidence of the strong culture that you're seeing here. So is there evidence of low staff turnover? Is there evidence of high productivity? Is there evidence of people working towards objectives? Is there any signs of conflict? Basically, whether it's strong or weak, weak would be the opposites of this, okay? But find the staff behaviours in the case study, and then you can actually answer the questions whether they have a strong or weak culture, okay? The other thing about culture that you need to be able to do is talk about Charles Handy's culture type. So if the question was to ask you to categorise what type of culture is in the organisation, they're asking you really to apply Charles Handy's model. He's got 4, which is power, role, task, and person. And you need to read and understand the descriptors of each one. If you were to have to evaluate whether an organisation is one of these, you can always evaluate by saying, well, it shows signs of another one. So let's have a look at what a power culture is. So control of resources and most influence come from a select few. You've got an organisation and there's the power with only a few individuals in that organisation. They make decisions, they control the resources, you've got a power culture. Role: staff behave according to their position in the hierarchy. Influence is higher up the organisational chart. So we've got the directors, we've got managers, we've got the operatives, and essentially employees will behave depending on whether they are an operative, whether they are a manager. But also, if they were to get a promotion up to the next level, they would then sort of assume that influence of having the promotion. So that's all basically role culture. You just behave according to what role you've been given. Task: this is team-based structure. So a matrix structure is where you've got like lots of project teams, specialists from different areas working in a team on different project areas. So task culture is all about the team. There will be influential staff within each of those teams, but essentially where it's team-based, and that's what you need to look for. Last one, person culture. Staff act as individuals. Often they see themselves as more important than the actual hierarchy. So the way I sort of see this in real life is I think to myself, what about somebody like a journalist who their writing is the organisation's product? An artist, their work is the organisation's product. So in fact, their skills are the most important thing. And so there I can see probably a person culture being there. They're not really relying on team members. They're sort of in charge, and they think that their skills are the most important thing. So that's Charles Handy's culture types. And like I said, you can find evidence as to where is the power, how do they behave, and then categorise it. But then you can evaluate it by saying, well, actually, there was evidence of both role and task to some extent, or something like that. Okay, so evaluating whether it's a strong or weak culture, you could argue the opposite as an evaluation. There may be some areas of weak as well as strong. So your KPA section, your essay might be like, there's a strong culture, there's low staff turnover, and then you might be evaluated by saying, however, they haven't got the highest productivity, or some staff are not working towards the objectives. So you can actually contradict what you've said before as evaluation. So therefore it might be weak culture and actually not strong. Evaluation: culture may not be as important as other factors such as high pay. Yet you may make the point in your evaluation that this weak culture that you've explained is actually not that significant, that they're still profitable, that people are still working hard because of high pay. There's other factors more important than culture. You can evaluate that way. And then last one, culture will change over time. Basically, it takes a long time to change culture, but you can make the point that culture isn't static. Just because there was one culture now does not mean it's going to be that culture forever. Individual leaves, management change, Changing the layout of an office can change culture. So essentially, just because there is one culture kind of situation going on, it may not be that forever, and therefore it's just sort of a temporary culture, and therefore not overly significant.